Outdoors Delmarva covers everything outdoors,
including real hunting and fishing situations involving wildlife.
We do our best each and every week to keep it tasteful, but discretion is advised.
Now, enjoy the show.
This is the best of Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Some adventures are too good to experience just once. Here's Mike with a look back on one of our favorite adventures.
While the vacation crowds have now started to dwindle at our local coastal resorts, there's one group of seasonal visitors here on Delmarva that are just arriving at the beaches. And I'll tell you what, these F-16s of the bird world have been on researchers' radar for decades.
Okay, we'll be there in just a few. Yep, bye.
So when I met up with Mike Yates near the big bridge at Assateague, it sounded like we were in luck. Through a gate and down a sandy path, it's the type of access that only permanent researchers can get to the national seashore.
We've been conducting a peregrine falcon survey, migrating peregrine falcons this is our 41st year of conducting this study. And my partner, Bill Seeger, has a peregrine he's just captured, and we're going to process that for you.
When we get to the site, there's no time to waste. And with decades of experience, Mike and Bill have the process down to a science. All in the name of science, after all, and the preservation of a bird of prey species that not long ago found its talons firmly clasped to the endangered species list.
We'll take this hood off in a little while. This is primarily to keep the bird quiet. We caught her very recently, within the last 20 or 30 minutes. And the hood quiets her down, and we're going to put a band on her leg, which we can identify the bird the rest of her life.
This tundra peregrine falcon is a subspecies of peregrine, right in the middle of its annual migration from the North American Arctic regions. Because they breed in places like western Greenland or eastern and central Canada, the pristine habitat of Assateague is a perfect pit stop on their thousands of miles journey to South Central or South America. But for the birds, it's hardly been a vacation. From the 1950s through the 70s, peregrine survival was terribly threatened when contaminants like DDT pesticide found its way into this falcon's DNA. Today, this Maryland checkpoint is just as important, becoming one of the last places that researchers can capture the birds clean, you might say, before they land in another area that's recently become the focus of environmental concern.
All these birds are now headed down into the Gulf Coast. Many will pass through the area that's been contaminated by the BP oil spill.
The first step here is to attach a lightweight band to the bird's leg. A first-year immature peregrine like this will now travel with a tracking number to be referenced in future encounters.
The bird banding lab will have all this information. It's pretty important information on the bands to be able to recover the birds and find out where they end up.
Step 2 is to collect a small blood sample from the bird, just enough to fill a small vial, which a bird this size can spare easily. Next spring, if the falcon is recaptured in places like Texas as it re-enters the U.S., new samples can be compared to those taken here at Assateague.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Checking for possible contaminants introduced by the oil spill and other hazards.
Now we're going to take a couple of very small feather snips from this bird, which we can use to look at trace elements to try and determine the natal origins of these birds, where they came from in the Arctic.
Bill and Mike's team is part of Earthspan, a non-profit group conducting research under the scope of the National Park Service. Over the course of a month or so, they've captured and tagged about 115 tundra peregrines just like this. Using live pigeons as bait, the capturing process is sensitive, and one our cameras were unable to see. Before each falcon is released, a final step is taken to prevent redundant research. In other words, if the same bird is recaptured, a red flag goes up, literally. But this red dye applied to the chin and head will wash away harmlessly from the bird's plumage in roughly 3 weeks.
One of the fastest birds in the world. And what we're going to do is let it go. We're going to let this girl go. She's an immature female. She's ready to go. We're going to give her a toss and she'll fly right away. Ready?
coming up next week, we're going to introduce you to another person trying to trap those same tundra peregrines for a different reason and in a much different setting. Still to come on the best of Outdoors Delmarva, more of our favorite adventures. But first, did you know? The bay scallop has up to 100 tiny eyes that line the rim of its shell, but they're not very advanced. What simple function do they serve? The answer when we come back.
This is the best of Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Ocean City Tourism, Shorts Marine, and Shooter's Choice. Don't go anywhere. The best of Outdoors Delmarva will be right back.
Did you know? The bay scallop has up to 100 tiny eyes around the rim of its shell, but these simple eyes are only capable of sensing light and dark, such as the shadow of a predator.
Did You Know is sponsored by North Bay Marina. You're watching the best of Outdoors Delmarva.
Thanks for watching the best of Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Mike Parker. Well, in the last segment before the break, we took you along for the ride to Assateague Island National Seashore, where we followed a group of research scientists looking for migrating peregrine falcons. And as you can see, well, each year they have pretty good luck out there. Well, it wasn't too long after we aired that story that we found another guy on a similar mission, but he wasn't looking for the peregrines to study them. No, he wanted to capture one for his own personal use.
Some people say falconry is like a virus. When you get it, you know, it's hard to let go. It's some people say it's an addiction almost. So you get this bug to get a bird, and you're going to do whatever it takes to get it.
But for Mike Dupuis, it's turning into an exhausting effort. The falconer is one of just 5 individuals in the state of Maryland this year to be granted a permit to catch and keep a peregrine falcon. To be more specific, a tundra peregrine, just like the one we showed local researchers tagging and releasing in a story last week. And different from the falcon you see on Mike's hand, which is actually a hybrid, a mix between a peregrine and a gyrfalcon.
I hunt her and I fly her, and when I say hunt her, she hunts with me. I release her, take this equipment off. She wears a hawk bell and a radio transmitter as well. She flies around, and I basically will have a hunting dog, a pointer, that will flush game and point game for me, or we can flush ducks off a pond and she'll dive down and try to grab them.
But what Mike is really hunting is a fair chance. For the first time in decades, a limited number of falconers have been given the chance to take a wild peregrine as they migrate through Maryland. But unlike researchers, recreational falconers are not allowed to trap where most of the peregrines are, Assateague Island.
This is my urban trapping environment.
Instead, Mike has been setting up on rooftops of Ocean City hotels, one of the only places he can assemble a trap without constant interruption by curious bystanders.
To be using a live bait, much as a fisherman might put some live bait animal on or fish at the end of his hook to catch a fish, I have to use live bait to lure a hawk or a falcon in, because they won't come to carrion or dead meat. So you know, I just think it could upset someone's sensibilities. It's not really an appropriate place to be trying to trap when you've got people walking around on a beach.
For the opportunity just to capture a peregrine, Mike says he's been putting his best foot forward given the regulations, but hopes that in the future he and other falconers will be put on equal footing with others who seek this bird of prey.
Take a look at those pigeons there and watch this. When they see that silhouette, they move. Because this is what they're afraid of.
You're watching the best of Outdoors Delmarva.
Well, I'm here inside the Nassawango Creek Preserve, a 10,000-acre nature conservancy property just a couple of miles outside of Snow Hill, Worcester County. This place is filled with swamps and woods and big open fields just like this. All of them perfect habitat for songbirds.
Here we have an American goldfinch,
which on this hazy summer morning just happened to get caught. For this tiny male, a minor setback for its regular routine. For researchers, a chance to get up close and personal, band, measure,
13.4,
weigh, and release.
Banding allows each bird we catch to be permanently labeled, so you can follow it age-wise or migration-wise or nesting success and so forth.
We are heading on what we call the prothonotary birding trail.
To actually catch birds here, researchers have set up a series of nets. Light and thin, they're nearly invisible from a distance and soft enough to safely tangle up a small bird, as seen in this photo. The target species at Nassawango Creek is the prothonotary warbler, a small wood nesting bird that prefers a wet forest habitat.
And we have this pristine bald cypress swamp with plenty of cavity possibilities for nesting, but just to ensure there's enough nesting space, we do have prothonotary nest boxes.
Oh, this is a pretty bird.
Today, the warbler was a no-show, but two other birds caught offered two different opportunities. This Louisiana water thrush was a first-time catch, while this more feisty female northern cardinal was caught with a band already in place.
Gonna let it go.
Information collected from banded birds is measured against previous data kept in a database available to scientists across the country.
Well, I got you about as close to the action as I could, but if you'd like to see some bird banding done up close and personal, they do public demonstrations pretty regularly here at Nassawango Creek Preserve. For more information, you can contact the Ward Museum or just send me an email. It's on the screen, mparker@wboc.com. And don't forget those outdoor story ideas and digital photos from your most recent outdoor adventures. Reporting from Worcester County, I'm Mike Parker, reminding you to get outdoors, Delmarva.
Some adventures are too good to experience just once. This is the best of Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Some adventures are too good to experience just once. This is the best of Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
An eagle on the golf course is a rarity. That's 2 strokes under par, and even the pros can't do that very often. Well, on one Somerset County golf course, the eagles that were making the news had nothing to do with filling out your scorecard.
I was out checking out the course and I just happened to look around, and I had never seen that many bald eagles at one time here on the course. And so we're an Audubon Sanctuary course, so wildlife's pretty much commonplace there. But yesterday it was just like, wow, they were everywhere. And there were adult males, adult females, youth. Don't know why they're here, just really enjoying them being here, and just a pretty awesome spectacle to see them. Catch them, see them. Oh, look at them on 4. Wow, there must be 20 of them over there. I don't know whether you can get close enough to them, but there's 3 or 4 over there, and but they're just they're all over the place. Just unbelievable.
What do you like about eagles?
Oh my gosh, they're just beautiful, majestic. I think the males are what everybody likes to see, but it's pretty awesome to see all the different ones out here at the same time. When you first look at them, you think they might be buzzards, but pretty quickly you can tell they're a little different way about them. That's a pretty shot there. If you get that, that's pretty. But they're just, I just counted 20 just, you know, real quick there. I think maybe when we came in here, it looked like maybe it spooked them away, but see a lot of them back on 13 maybe. This is definitely, we've never seen anything like this before here. I think it kind of gives a little different perspective to the thought that they might be an endangered species. They just seem to be so many of them here right now. And you see a lot more. It's not like it used to, I guess 10 years ago, you were lucky to see one. Awesome. No, it's quite spectacular to see this many out here. I don't know if you want to try to drive around, see if we see somewhere else. It does seem like when we pull up, it kind of spooked them a little bit. But I'm trying to think, is that one perched right up in that tree there, or is that part of the tree?
There's that one that just took off, that big one right there. There he is. Got him. Female there. Boy, look at that. Yeah, beautiful.
There's one still roosting in this tree right here. He's right here. There he goes. Oh, they're going over the 14. See them all over the trees on 14?
I've been here almost 8 years. I've never seen anything like this before. So it's quite fascinating and quite exciting, I think, to see this many out here. It sure makes you wonder why they're here. Maybe it's because we take such good care of the golf course.
Bald eagles have come to thrive on Delmarva, and many of them stay here all year. But with so many eagles in one place, it's almost certain that some of the birds you see at this time of year are migrating through as they seek out winter food sources.
And now it's time to check in with an old friend. Here's this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic.
Paul Knock of Salisbury carves pretty birds, very pretty birds. So pretty and lifelike, in fact, he ranks among America's top carvers of wildlife. Paul Knock began carving 30 years ago. Like most everyone else who enters the wonderful world of wildlife counterfeiting, he started with ducks and geese, but for quite a few years now has specialized in songbirds and shorebirds.
First of all, they're practical. We live with them every day. We see them every day. They are indigenous to the Eastern Shore.
Paul Knock has had a storied carving career. He was one of the founders of what is now the Ward Foundation and has been an integral part of it ever since. He readily admits struggling very hard at the outset of his carving career. And when we suggested in very complimentary terms that today he is an old master, he modestly shrugged it off.
Some adventures are too good to experience just once. This is the best of Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Oh. Thank you for the advice.
This is the best of Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Hi everybody, and thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Mike Parker, here to tell you about a great local destination this week. You know, we always talk about Ocean City in terms of fishing and heading to the beach, but this week, we're talking about Ocean City as a golf destination. And joining me right now is golf professional Bob Kroll from Eagles Landing Golf Course. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing great, Mike.
Bob, let's talk about this place in terms of what makes it special.
Oh, what makes this golf course special is not only it's a great golf course for the golfers to enjoy in great condition, it's the natural surroundings. We have beautiful surroundings where you can see the Sinnapuxent Bay, Assateague Island, multiple marshlands, and not to mention just a tremendous amount of wildlife.
So people come to golf courses for a challenge, to see something new, and if you're out here, well, you are going to see some natural beauty and possibly some great wildlife.
Without a doubt. We are an Audubon sanctuary, actually the first one in the state of Maryland. One of the things we always say is the natural beauty of the land and the wildlife tend to let your mind wander from the game.
Joe Perry is the course superintendent here at Eagles Landing. Hey Joe, how are you?
Hey Mike, thanks for coming out.
No problem. I am taking a look around here, and I got to tell you, if this is your office, well, you must have one of the best jobs on the Eastern Shore.
Yeah, I think I do, Mike. I'm real lucky. It's a beautiful golf course, beautiful piece of property, and I think I've seen just about all the golf course has to offer. We've identified over 110 different bird species, plus all the native animals of the Eastern Shore.
Well, the nature and the wildlife is definitely going to be a big draw for someone like me to get out here and check it out. But can Eagles Landing accommodate, let's say, a beginning golfer as well as challenge someone who's been doing it a while?
Oh, absolutely. Mike, we have tees set up at a shorter distance for the golfers who, haven't quite played as much and don't hit the ball quite as long. but we have tees at a place where even the best golfers are going to find this course a tremendous challenge.
All right, Bob Kroll, golf professional here at Eagles Landing. Thank you so much for having us out.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, if you enjoy the game of golf and you appreciate the beauty of nature and wildlife that surrounds you, well, Eagles Landing Golf Course is going to be that perfect fit. Eagles Landing, upholding the tradition of the game. And we'll be right back.
Still to come on the best of Outdoors Delmarva, your viewer pictures.
Outdoors Delmarva viewer pictures are sponsored by Shorts Marine. This is the best of Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Ocean City Tourism, Shorts Marine, and Shooter's Choice. Now, let's get back to the show.
Mike, people have really been getting involved with our new viewer venture cam, and we have another new video to show you this week.
Well, this video was taken up at Sandy Point State Park at the recent conclusion to the Maryland Fishing Challenge, courtesy of Justin Kelly of Westover, Maryland.
All right, big round of applause for our new state record holders, Ken and Justin.
If it sounds familiar, he's the guy who caught the state record long-nosed gar we featured on the show just last week. Justin was there to receive his official award for catching that new Maryland state record fish, and one of the highlights of the day was to find out that if any of the lucky anglers who caught Diamond Jim tagged fish like the ones that we caught and tagged a few weeks ago here in the show were the $25,000 grand prize winners. Well, it turned out all of the fish caught were imposter fish. But in a new twist this year, because no grand prize fish was caught, those who caught the imposters will split the $25,000 prize, so all of them are walking away with a few $1,000s. Mary Dayton Sears from Toddville, Maryland, sent in a few shots of wildlife that many of us just don't see very often. Flying squirrels. Yeah, these little fellas sure are entertaining, but they're also kind of mischievous and most active at night. So getting this shot at Mary's feeder was pretty neat. Well, we'll be out for the big bucks soon enough, so here's a preview with a picture posted on the Outdoors Delmarva Facebook page this week. Mackenzie Taylor from Dorchester County harvested this buck during last season's Youth Day.
Until next week, for Captain Willie Dykes, I'm Mike Parker reminding you, get outdoors, Delmarva.